So by now you probably noticed that viral trend that went out where everyone was turning themselves into action figures using ChatGPT and their updated image generation capability. Well, the results were pretty insane. And if you're anything like me, the next thing you were probably asking yourself was, well, how do I 3D print that? Well, today I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And we're going to take ChatGPT and blend it with Meshy.ai to get the best results possible. I'm going to show you that entire workflow process, and we're going to create some custom Funko Pops, some Star Wars creatures, and much more right after this.
Welcome to the show that sets your mind free. Tech and gadgets, 3D surprise. Spin off! Captain Creativity. Always inside to have your with David's guiding light, inventions spark and take their flight.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Captain Creativity. I am your host, David Merrill. You know, I have to tell you, I've been waiting for AI to hit the 3D printing industry, and I think we're there. You know, I've been looking at 3D modeling AI-based platforms for a while now, for the last year. And I actually did settle on using Meshy from Meshy.ai as one of the best solutions out there. And I've been playing around with it and the results were pretty good. But I know that it could have been better if I would have fed it better data. And now with ChatGPT updating their image generation capability to essentially do what it was always supposed to do, follow your prompt. And now it does that. And now we can create really amazing 3D renderings of the model that we want. And then we can use that as the source information to create the actual mesh model in Meshy.ai. The first thing I want to do is thank Meshy for sponsoring this video and for you guys to know that Meshy was always going to be the pairing partner with ChatGPT. I've been researching a lot and they reached out to me recently while I was in the middle of doing this AI meets 3D printing universe episode. And they said, you know, we want to sponsor one of your videos. And I said, well, that's perfect timing because I'm working on something right now leveraging your platform with ChatGPT. I guess the stars just aligned. And I just wanted to throw that out there because I want you to know that this is my actual opinion. This is not just because it's a sponsorship and it influenced my opinion in any way of Meshy. It's a fantastic platform. And they just came out with a new feature, which we'll discuss later, which takes it to a whole new level. But we'll get there in a moment. Anyway, let's begin. The first thing that we're going to do is go into ChatGPT and we're going to kind of show you some of the prompts that we use to get these really great results. First, we're going to go ahead and give it a prompt like a baby Wampa from Star Wars. And we're going to add some other things to it, right? Because it's all about the prompt. And so we're going to say that we want this for 3D printability. So we don't want any of the features to be flat and make sure that certain features are raised, or embossed, or extruded, right? So that they show up. You can even get as detailed as telling it to minimize overhangs and to give me a pose that would minimize the overhang. So then it might put the model into a sitting position, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. A couple of tips that you do need to know when you start making models that are 3D printable. Meshy.ai recommends that you put it in monochrome. That means just one color, and it's really best to remove the background where possible. The cool thing is Meshy does have the ability for you to remove the background right through the interface. The first thing I do want to show you is the fact that the prompts matter, and you're going to definitely have to do some customization, and sometimes you're not going to get the results that you want. Sometimes they could just be downright scary and creepy. You know, so there is tweaking, and because this is every chat conversation can actually work very independently from the other one, so your results may vary. But this is what's worked for me, and I've been able to produce everything from Funko Pops, different creatures from Star Wars like Rancors and Wampas and Tauntauns, and then I was able to successfully bring them into Meshy and get it into a 3D printable model. So let's begin with the prompt in itself. Let's say we want to go ahead and we want to create a baby Wampa. Well, here's a great prompt that I came up with, and it's actually going to ask it for a 3D rendering of a 3D model, and you can even make these models easy for 3D printing. So I throw a few things in there, and I'm gonna share with you all the different prompts I got to get all these different creatures. I'm also gonna share some of these models with you on Printables and MakerWorld and some other platforms so that you could actually just take these models and start printing them. So here I went ahead and I created a baby wampa, and it came out beautifully. I love it. It looks great. So I take this and I throw it right into Meshy. So before we jump into Meshy, let's do a quick rundown of the platform. The platform allows you to do text to image generation, image to 3D generation. You could do animations, you could do textures. Literally, this thing is everything 3D modeling, whether it's for printing or even for gaming. It's really a very powerful solution. Now, another great thing about Meshy.ai is that it's free. Well, it's a freemium model. You can start off using it for free, and every month they're gonna give you about 100 credit. You're gonna only be able to run one generation at a time. If you wanna do multiple, the $20 a month plan, but you can run one generation at a time, and then you can get up to 10 downloads per month. So 10 free models that you could generate. So that's pretty cool. But yes, I actually bought ahead of time. They didn't give me a membership. I actually paid for the membership. So I'm totally paying for Meshy.ai on my own. And I was playing around with it, and I've been generating so many different models, checking out the different settings, tweaking things. Basically, I will definitely tell you that you don't have to do that much tweaking. I tried it because I was kind of curious to see what results I would get if I changed this or I changed that. But all in all, it was pretty straightforward. Most of it could just be auto, and then you're done. So now let's get back to generating our image. Over here, we had our result. We downloaded a picture of it right over there. Boom, done. You could also even just paste the image right then and there. Boom, done. So that's pretty cool. And it's gonna generate a name over here. You can definitely change it to whatever you want. That has no bearing in the generation of the model. And then I usually leave symmetry auto, especially if it is symmetrical. In this case, you can, if I put a line right down the middle, it really is symmetrical left to right. So I'm just gonna leave that on auto. And then all we gotta do here is hit generate. All right, so in Meshy.ai, you can actually go straight to image to 3D. That's where I go, and you just upload in your image and you're good to go. Now, this is where it gets really exciting because this feature literally just came out. While I was in the process of reviewing the software, it didn't exist. And I actually reached out to them and said, you know what would be great? If there was a multi-image capability to upload multiple angles of the model in order to get better results. And lo and behold, they said, oh, we're working on it. It should be out soon. And a week later, boom, it was there. And I was really impressed. And so as soon as I was getting up to the part of recording this video, it was available. And I started uploading the different angles. And what's so great about the ChatGPT side of things is that you can get multiple angles for your model. So once you're done generating the first model, you can now say, give me a side view, give me a front view, give me a back view. And I'm gonna have that also in the prompt in the description below. Once you go ahead and hit generate, you're gonna notice that it's gonna give you about 4 different options. And these are gonna be, some are at better resolution, and then you pick the one that's the best. And if you don't like it, you can, play around with the settings a little bit. But for the most part, you usually get your 4 results. And if you queued up ChatGPT to give you the type of prompts that I just showed you, and the results are looking just like what I showed you, you should get some pretty good results here in Meshy.ai. So anyway, you choose one of the models, and now it's time to create, like, whether this is a polygon or how much detail do you need to have in your mesh. So if you want it to kind of have a little less detail, you could definitely make it adaptive and scale back on it. I usually just maxed it out. I wanted to see what this is gonna do with the maximum amount of detail. So that's what I went with, and my results were pretty fantastic. Once you choose one of the models, you then define the mesh type. All right, so now that we've got our mesh, we now are going to download it. And when we're downloading it, we also have some options. And you can see we have a ton of different file types that we can choose from. We can even change the size of the model. And this is great so that, yes, you can scale it in the slicer, but you don't have to. Now we're gonna download it, and now that it's downloaded, that's it. We take it right to the slicer and we can start painting it if it's a multicolor print. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna throw this in, and as you can see here, I'm working with a couple of different printers. I got my Prusa Core 1, so I'm gonna put some stuff on Prusa Slicer. I also have my Bamboo Lab A1. I wanted to try to give you an example of somebody who's just starting out and wanting to throw this on their A1 or A1 Mini. So we have that example. I just love the fact that now people with no 3D modeling experience could literally generate an image, bring it into something like Meshy.ai, get a 3D file, and if they want to take it a little bit further and start making modifications, you can import this right into Tinkercad. Whether you're a beginner or you're a kid and you're just starting off, this is a great way just to make some simple modifications to your model. And I think that those who are beginners or kids who are just starting 3D printing are really gonna love this. So now let's go ahead and jump into Prusa Slicer, and we're going to slice one of these prints. So I'm gonna grab the little chewy guy, and just look how good it looks. I just noticed right now it added a few more toes than it's supposed to have. But okay, all right, we're gonna go with it for now. Anyway, but boom, that's it, it's ready to go. I'm gonna enable supports over here. It's slice. Oh, there is an error over here, and that's easy. You just click on it and you can auto repair it and you're ready to go. So something like this will go ahead, we'll send it over to the Core 1, and it says it will take a total of, oh, not bad, 3 hours and 21 minutes. Pretty cool. And now here we are in Bamboo Studio, and another great thing you could do with your prints is obviously you can color them. And so as you can see over here, I took the baby Wampa, I put on his horns as gray, I made the nose pink, the mouth pink, the eyeballs black, and I can go ahead and hit print and I'm ready to go. This one over here, if you're gonna go ahead and do that, it's gonna take about 11 hours and 5 minutes because of the different color changes. It's really easy to paint your models, and doing so is just simply clicking on the color painting tool, and this is where you could just go in, add your different filament colors, and that's it. You just paint them and you're good to go. Overall, I mean, I am just super, super impressed with this. This was really, really, really impressive. And I'm going to make these models available to you. Check out the link below. Now, once you bring your model into the slicer, it might detect that there's some repairing needed. And that's easy. You just click a button and you're done. It repairs it, you're good to go. So for me, I literally I didn't go with the highest, I literally just went with 0.2. That's it, that was standard. And I got fantastic results, even just at 0.2. I've been doing a lot in this platform over the last couple days, and I just want to kind of show you the different things that I did here. I created Funko Pops. I was even taking scans that I did of my kids and try to turn them into action figures. I did things like puppies. Those are really easy to do. And my daughter just loves puppies, so I went ahead and I did a bunch of those. As you can see, I have Funko Pop over here. This one was a little baby Wookiee from Star Wars. That one came out really fantastic. Here's a Bantha. And then I did like baby Rancor, a baby Tauntaun. I also prompted some of my ChatGPT prompts to put them in a place that will give ideal printability. And it knew right away that if you want ideal printability and minimize supports, having these models sit down would be great. And so it literally created something that would minimize the amount of overhangs. And so here's just like another example. They came out so good. I'm so impressed with it. Here's my Funko Pop. It just cracks me up what I was able to pull out of this. It was really, really, really impressive stuff. My daughter is actually having a birthday coming up, and she has a puppy party, so she wanted to start creating different puppy versions of golden retrievers, of labradoodles, and so this came out also fantastic. And again, these were all prompts that I got out of ChatGPT, and bringing them into here was great. It made it so simple. It really just made the whole process really, really easy. All right, let's check out the little Chewy guy, baby Chewy. Looks amazing. Okay, our multicolor print is now done. This is our Wampa. And now let's take a look. Oh, there it is. There's the multicolor version of the Wampa. See, I put on a little bit of a, kind of a tan nose there, and the teeth are there. I could probably have done a little bit better in painting of the mouth. I probably should have gone with a black or something. Anyway, I was able to take another one of these prints that I got from Meshy and turn it into a full multicolor print, and there it is. Beautiful. And so, of course, once I printed one Funko Pop, all my kids wanted Funko Pops, my students wanted Funko Pops. So I said, you know what? Let's make an activity out of it. And we created a lesson plan around it. And they got to do a little prompt engineering. They got their 3D renderings. They went to Meshy. They uploaded it, got their models, and then they were able to print them out. And here are some examples. Isn't that great? Look at that. Came out really well. Some of these really just completely blew me away. I love the detail on this. I mean, this one even got the eyelashes got preserved, which is pretty amazing. And now, of course, I give them back, and then they use acrylic markers to basically paint them in and go home with them. So it's a great activity. So at the end of the day, these tools are literally just going to lower the bar of entry for people to get into 3D modeling. Now, I know some of you might be looking at it, especially if you have 3D modeling experience, you might kind of look at this video with disdain and anger.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
And ultimately, yes, please take that and put it into the comments below. But before you get too red hot on me, understand one thing. I am not saying that this is going to replace 3D modelers. Not at all. I think this could even be a tool for 3D modelers if you want a starting point, and then you can take it to the next level. Because the reality is, what you're going to get from ChatGPT or from Meshy, it's their generation. I mean, you prompted it, you gave it as much direction as possible, but ultimately, the hand that's going to make it is AI generated. It's not your hand. So when you want that extra perfection, or you want it to be an object to be held in a certain way. For example, I take this Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee, right? And I'm gonna put it in my hand like this, or like this, or like this, or like this. It's gonna get too intricate to get that prompted just right in AI. And yes, you could take pictures and show it in AI and say, this is how I want you to position it. But understand that when you want to get extra level of perfection, you're going to hire a 3D modeler. Another thing to consider is that there always are going to be some imperfections. Again, Meshy is doing the best job possible, and it's giving you as many tools as possible to allow you to provide Meshy with as much information as possible. However, there are still things that need to be tweaked. And that's where 3D modelers also come into play. So again, I'm not saying this video is not meant to say 3D modelers are gone, AI's taking over. That's not the case. But it does allow more kids and more makers out there to basically start bringing their imagination to life. And if something doesn't exist on Maker World or Thingiverse, you can now use Meshy and ChatGPT to generate some pretty amazing prints. Well, anyway, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe, and happy printing.